So the M2 MacBook Air is official, and it's coming about 2 years after the initial announcement of M1. And I personally use an M1 MacBook Air on a daily basis, not the spec'd up model. I use a base model every single day in Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro to really dive deep into how, Apple Silicon can improve my workflow. The M2 looks like a logical step. It's a 10-core CPU, and that's something we expected. It has more single core performance, which we also expected. However, I think it is a great step in the right direction when Apple admits, okay, this design is kind of antiquated. We had this design since, the original redesign of the MacBook Air all the way back in 2018. Great year for Apple products, by the way, 2018. But the MacBook Air hadn't been redesigned since the original MacBook Air, in a major way anyways. Of course, there's been upgraded specs and things like that. But this time, we're seeing an evolution of the 2018 design. We're sort of seeing a place where the M1 MacBook Pro isn't really needed anymore because it kind of steals the thunder of that MacBook Pro. The wedge design is now gone in favor of a sort of like squared off design. Kind of what we're getting away from with the new MacBook Pros. Of course, it gives you back some of your old ports and it gives you MagSafe, which I am a huge fan of Apple doing. Just give us MagSafe on everything. Like, I use MagSafe with my iPhone, and I wish I could use it on my MacBook, and I wish I could use it on my iPad, because it just works so seamlessly with the ecosystem. And that is why it is so critical for everything that MagSafe is back. And come on, I just want a fancy little MagSafe puck in the side of their MacBook. I think this MacBook will be the perfect entry into Apple Silicon for anyone who hasn't bought an M1 MacBook yet, or Mac in general. And if you're coming from an M1 MacBook and you really want that design, yeah, go ahead. Or if you want a fancy new color, go ahead. But there's not much else about it. Like, in the past, we had a shift from the old stainless steel and rugged aluminum bezels and all that kind of design to a more elegant 12-inch MacBook-esque design. But now we're in a phase where we're foregoing the 2018 design language that we got with the 2020 MacBook Air M1 series, and we're really foregoing all that design for the sake of something new, which is more modern, up to date with the whole lineup, which is something I'm interested in, to see how Apple evolves this lineup in the future, to see if it really gets the same uptake as M1. If people with M1 will actually choose to buy this MacBook, because this MacBook serves a place in the lineup, it does, but it also really does make me question, is it better off you get an M1 MacBook Air, a spec'd up model, maybe a 2TB model, or a 1TB model with 16 gigs of RAM and an 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU model, for the same price that you can get an M2 MacBook Air now. Yeah, if you want the improved single core performance, you're going to have to get an M2 model, but I don't think most people are going to care, apart from the redesign, because I use an M1 MacBook Air on a daily basis, as I've aforementioned, and it's never let me down. There's only a few cases where Final Cut has actually struggled, and ever since I switched to Premiere Pro, which I will be making a video on, subscribe by the way for that, I think it's been perfect. I haven't had any slowdown, I haven't had any issues whatsoever. M1 is so optimized that even you can get a MacBook Air M1 spec'd up model with an 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, still 256 gigs of storage and things like that. You can still get them for $850 now, €850. When I bought mine, it was $949 on Black Friday, down from $1,120, the going price. But just think about that for a second, okay? When has there ever been a situation when a MacBook of that caliber has been in a, price performance type thing like that? A price bracket like that. It's unheard of. The M2 MacBook Air will take its place in that caliber category, and it will sell like hotcakes. But whether you have a MacBook Air M1 and you need to upgrade it is another question. So let me know in the comment section below or over on Twitter if you are going to upgrade. And if you are, what spec are you going to buy? And subscribe to the channel while you're at it, because if you want more content like this, because I do lots of M1 style content. And share the video with your family and friends. Really helps out the channel. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.